When New York businessman Frank McNamara started Diners Club in 1950, he had big dreams for his new company and the credit card it would issue. He predicted that someday restaurants all over New York will honor his card. At the time, no other company had successfully issued a credit card accepted across several merchants. But McNamara was right about the future, and then some. As the first major multi-purpose charge card issuer, Diners Club gained widespread acceptance across merchants and paved the way for other issuers. About 83% of US consumers now report carrying a credit card, according to a survey by the Fed. The idea of a credit card did not begin with Diners Club, but McNamara's idea was a big improvement on what already existed. In the 1920s, department stores and oil companies started offering metal charge plates and courtesy cards that customers could use to charge purchases. These cards were accepted only by the merchants that issued them, similar to the modern-day store cards. Restaurants did not even offer such cards. With its cardboard credit cards, Diners Club aimed for mass acceptance. It charged merchants a 7% fee on each transaction. It also promised cardholders convenience by charging only one monthly bill for dining expenses and a status symbol to keep in their wallets. These cards required payment in full each month, so today we would call them charge cards, but at the time they were called credit cards. By its first anniversary, Diners Club had attracted 42,000 members and a few competitors. By 1953, it became the first internationally accepted charge card. But it wasn't until 1958 that major companies joined the competition. These included American Express, which issued some of the first plastic cards, Bank of America, and Carte Blanche, owned by Hilton Hotels. Among the flurry of credit cards launched in 1958, Bank of America's was the most innovative. The Diners Club and other cards were only accepted at restaurants and travel and entertainment outlets, but the new Bank AmeriCard was accepted at several different types of merchants, although it was limited to California at first. It also allowed some customers to revolve balances, a novelty at that time. Bank of America introduced the card with an unforgettable and incredibly expensive publicity stunt. It mailed 60,000 already activated Bank of America credit cards to its customers in Fresno, California. Known in the industry as the Fresno Drop, this mass mailing resulted in widespread fraud and delinquencies that cost the bank millions. Despite the losses, Bank of America offered the same card to the rest of California customers the following year. In 1961, the card generated its first operating profit. In 1966, Bank of America began licensing its card to banks in other states to scale its business. This allowed out-of-state banks to issue cards that were accepted by merchants that took Bank of America. Bank of America's credit card, called the Bank AmeriCard, eventually became Visa, which then spun off from Bank of America. These new card networks competed for issuers' attention while expanding their merchant acceptance. In the 1970s and 1980s, it made sense to choose a card based on the network, since the logo on your card affected where it might be accepted. But as merchant acceptance for more networks became ubiquitous, issuers began adding new perks to their cards to compete. In 1986, Sears introduced the Discover card, which offered consumers a small rebate on all their purchases, making it one of the first cashback cards in the US, and then the competition exploded. Issuers that had previously relied on their network's brands to promote their cards began offering sign-up bonuses, frequent flyer miles, low interest periods, and other enticements. Today, however, credit cards are becoming more about credit and less about cards. Instead of using plastic cards, many consumers are using their smartphones. About 3 in 4 consumers with a credit card and a smartphone have made a mobile payment at least once in the past 12 months. Many more are using credit cards to make purchases online without ever dipping or swiping their cards. Did McNamara see this coming? Probably not. More than 60 years later, Diners Club, now part of Discover, is still around, and the industry it inspired continues to grow. Only 51% of households had credit card in 1970, but that number has grown to 83% in 2021, which is a testament of how much Americans have embraced credit cards over time. We have seen monstrous growth ever since the turn of the century. In 1999, there were around 365 million credit cards account open. In 2020, there were over 511 million accounts. That's around a 40% increase. Our credit card debt has skyrocketed too. In 2017, US consumers hit $1 trillion in credit card debt for the first time. And despite some payoffs, we have stayed close to that number ever since. We currently owe more than $920 billion to credit card companies, or a bit over $7,800 per household. The nature of credit cards has clearly evolved a great deal over time, and so has our use of credit. There's a more diverse selection of credit cards in the US than ever before, and issuers offer cards with everything from travel rewards that entice big spenders to secured cards that help others build credit. While the idea of credit cards isn't going away, the physical cards might soon become just another part of history. In addition to increased adoption of mobile wallets, industry prediction points to biometric payments. That is, the use of selfies, fingerprints, and retina scans to verify account holders as the next big step for credit card payments. After all, we can already unlock our phones by just looking at them. Maybe soon, instead of reaching for our credit cards to pay for our coffee, we will reach to remove our sunglasses.